In the kingdoms of the Colovian Empire, the dominant religion is the faith of the Eight. The religion first appeared on the new continent from the elven settlers who traveled from the Old World. The pantheon has a major god for each of the major elements of everyday life. Nature, destruction, trade, death, magic, wisdom, love, and revelry. Andraste is the strongest of all the sky spirits, and is the goddess of the heavens, winds, elements, and the unseen spirits of the air. Watching from her pocket dimension, she sees and controls all animals and creatures of nature. She is more commonly known as the goddess of nature, and she commands the Lesher, who represents her divine wrath. The Lesher is a humanoid creature with the head of a stag, and is impervious to conventional weapons. The Lesher's task is to guard the forest on Phaedra and protect the holiest sites within those forests. Birds go silent, and animals bow where the Lesher steps. A quote from Torn the Traveler's Guide to the Forest of Phaedra. Torn further writes, to see a Lesher is rare, but if a mystical fog appears on the brightest days, it means a Lesher is near. It was the Lesher who was sent by Andraste to aid Sir Davith and Rizal on the day the goblins first attacked Runestone. Watching the two monks closely, Andraste was pleased with their progress on the construction of the monastery. He watched when the two warriors picked up their swords, one an outcast, the other an old soldier. Alone they stood against the goblin raiders. Knowing her physical powers on Phaedra are limited, she called on her protector of the forest. The goblins have long feared the Lesher from their many encounters with the being, for encroaching and cutting down some woodland. With the goblins retreating back to their settlements in the fractured highlands, the Lesher returned back to the forest to await further need from Andraste. Just outside the monastery wall, the two warriors sat drenched in sweat and blood. As the gate opened and the monks and laborers came out from behind the safety of the wall, a blue flame appeared before the two warriors and a voice spoke. Fear not, my heroes, for your courage to stand alone against the enemies of Andraste. I bestow upon you the Horn of the Forest. Use this horn to summon the Lesher to aid you in the defense of this holy site. Andraste further warned the monks, laborers, and peasants that if they ever strayed from being righteous and broke their oath to Andraste, the horn would become silent and will not work. The two warriors, with the guidance of Brother Dorn and Willem, formed the Order of the Rose and Thorns, a knightly guild that is tasked with protecting the monastery and pilgrims traveling within the forest to holy sites and shrines. Alright guys, and welcome back from the time lapse. It's time to do our show around and update for the monastery. Last time we didn't do that because I didn't do any interiors. I still kinda didn't really do that many interiors, but I did do the stables as you saw I was building from the time lapse. So the first thing I'm going to show you is the player model mod, which you can see right here. My character is a quarter of a size smaller. He has wings and antennas. Just thought that looked cool along with the skin that I have as a slime. Kind of makes it look more of a bug, I guess, but I thought that was pretty cool. So let's do our little show around. Coming up first here, I'm not really sure what I want to do with this top part of the wall. I know that in the lore I mentioned the order of the knightly order in there, of the Rose and Thorn, and there's been a military arm of the monastery, but I'm not sure if I want this to have like crenellations or anything like that, or just a walkway, or just maybe even rooftop, because the monastery isn't really meant to be a military structure. Sure, it's safe and will keep basically pilgrims and villagers safe from attacks and stuff, but it's not really meant to be a long-standing siege type of fortress or anything like that. So that's just something I'd like to think about. Let me know what you think below. So let's go right on in. So coming right on into the entrance, we had this building built the last time on the last episode. Not really sure what I want to do with this. Maybe a storage area, maybe a guard tower, something like that. Or maybe even just storage and then like maybe a library or something. I'm not sure. Any ideas, let me know. It's hollow inside of there, so there's nothing in there to show you. I just think the architecture of it is pretty cool. Using the frames and everything up there, up at that part up there. And coming on over here is this other tower here. I'll probably take out those middle second floor windows, but coming right on in here, I just put the stairs in to go up, but I'm not really sure what I want to be in here either. So let me know of any ideas in here. So to what we built in this episode is this small tree, and of course, if you've been on Darwin lately, ever since Build Battle 1, and some of my builds, I've just been obsessed with mushrooms, trying to build them in Minecraft. So that's what you see along the base here, the growth from the mushrooms and stuff that you see right on in there. So I just thought that is a pretty cool add-on. Someone did mention in a comment that they get a Morrowind vibe. So yeah, I kind of like dig that. That's kind of like what I'd like to go for, is like a Morrowind Vardenfell type of feeling there. Because in Morrowind, Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, it takes place on the island of Vardenfell, even though the rest of the province is not really shown in the main game. Sure, you can get in there from the DLC, but anyways, that's something totally different. So right over here we have basically this area for horses to get exercise and wander around. These guys don't really have names or anything. They're just here just to enjoy the outdoor activity. If you can think of any names, let me know, and I will add on a name tag to them. The first thing we'll do is come out into the stables. This is very different from the stables that I originally designed for Runestone. I'm getting my builds confused. Wayrest is a build I'm going to be doing soon alongside with this, but yeah, Runestone, the monastery, focus. Anyways, this is very different from my first idea. I always knew that Runestone should be on the side of a hill, side of a mountain type or something like that, with it built partly into the mountain and utilizing the land as part of the thing, as part of the build. So not only is like the chantry or the chapel, whatever you want to call it, built into the mountain, I thought it would be cool to have the stables built into these landside too. So coming right on into the stables, we have an area where you check in your horse as if you're a visitor and maybe pay like what they'd call a donation, what everyone else would call a fee, to stable your horse here. And there's two different areas where you can stable it. For a lesser fee, you could stable your horse in one of these paddocks in here. And they're all pretty identical, nothing too special. And some hay here to basically kept them fed. And then we have some other like hay waiting to be lifted up there. I'm not really good at like making it look like there's pulleys or anything, so let me know if you have any ideas or a better way to do it. And if you want to spend a little more money on stabling your horse at the monastery, you can come right on into this section of the area, and you have this part which is built into the land side. So right here, from the last build of Runestone, we have Mr. Ed. That is a name given to this horse by Andraste, who is a great content creator and a friend. And so yeah, I brought Mr. Ed back into here. So yeah, so this is part of the monastery build here as the stables here. I just thought this would be really cool. Gives it kind of a dwarven look, maybe. I'm not really sure, but it being fantasy, it's not anywhere near realistic as possible. But I just thought it was pretty cool doing this. And so let's go right on up and look at the second floor. So coming along out here, I'm just not sure if I want a wall that overlooks anything. And this monastery still being a meadery, I'm not sure if I want to add a building here that basically processes the mead, turns the honey into mead, and maybe maybe like a little shop where they can sell it and stuff. I'm not really sure yet, so let me know what you'd like to see. Is just maybe a wall or anything, or maybe a shop and a wall, something. Any ideas, let me know in the comments below. Alongside here, my plans for here is to build those cabins that I was doing in the last build of it, where visitors could stay. It's going to be along this side here, and it's just going to follow this area up here. There might be like a small road going towards the back, but that's pretty much my plans for here. Like those little areas where people who need a place to stay for a little bit can stay. So I just think that's pretty cool, and I always like to use the vanilla Minecraft terrain to be able to blend it right on in. I'm not really that good at terrain building, and this just at least gives me something to start off with. And the mod to do this type of terrain is called the Terraforge Mod. If you're ever interested, you can go ahead and get awesome terrain generation, a lot better than regular Minecraft. So in the time lapse, you saw this coming right up on it here. My plans is to have the road continue on up, maybe actually the place that makes the mead would be up here, And then further up over here would be where the actual chantry or chapel is, and it would be built in there. And then there'd also be like sleeping quarters for the monks as well. But focusing on this part of the build, we're coming into the living quarters of the stable master, the person in charge of it. So coming right on in here, actually before we go in, I forgot to give myself a torch earlier, so I do apologize if it was a little darker to see or anything like that. But let me just make sure I'm switching it over. There we go, we have the torch. So coming right on in here, we have basically a little area, or what you'd call like a mud room maybe, where you take off your muddy boots for the day, just set them down over here. And this is thanks to the Victory mod here by Filthy Coin, who's also a YouTube content creator and a mod maker on top of that, which is pretty awesome. And thanks to him, he makes the build 100 times better. But an area to hang up your cloak and stuff, and get clothes away and get new clothes. And because this apartment is very small, yes, the where you store your clothes would be here, and yes, that's not really optimal, but it is a small apartment. And coming in on this section here, we have a small sleeping area, a small kitchen area, and yeah, I just thought that this was pretty cool doing it this way. I thought having him living on site to be able to answer any of the horse's needs at any time would be probably something that was realistic to what they need to have in medieval times, but this is also a fantasy build. So yeah, a small wash basin, which is part of the Victory mod as well, and several other different things like these kitchen shelves, which you can change around what's in there with the debug stick. So that's what's really cool about that Victory mod, is being able to change how things look. It's not just putting one thing down and it looks all the same. You can customize it to endless possibilities pretty much. Well, I mean, it does end, but you could have it not looking all the same. And coming in over here, we have more storage area for hay that isn't ready to be eaten by the horses yet, or to be cleaned up or anything. So that's brought right on up here. More storage, and here is something I tried to design to lift up the pallet of hay. As I said, if you have a better design, let me know. Maybe make a tutorial video. I'd like to see one of those content creators. Maybe that's an idea. A tutorial on a lift using the Conquest mod block. I know I could do it using the create mod, but I don't really intend for this to be moving itself. So, and this is the mechanism I came up with, a shift wheel, and having to turn this and that like makes all this turn somehow, and I have no idea how it works. So yeah, this is the second area, and a safety rail to go all the way around so you don't fall down. I guess OSHA exists here too. So I just really enjoyed how this came out too. Even though I'm not 100% satisfied on this, I enjoy how the build came out overall. I'm very happy with it. So with that show around, I hope you have enjoyed the video. Just let me know of any of your ideas that I mentioned before, earlier in it, in the comments below. Leave a like if you did enjoy the videos. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. That way you can stay up to date with my videos and when they are released. And hit the bell notification too. That will help you keep up to date with my videos as well. And leave a comment, as always, below letting me know what you want to see next. So, until the next one, bye.